What's up, everybody? Today we're going to talk about the differences between Rockville, Maryland and Potomac, Maryland. They are both in Montgomery County, so they're both right outside of DC, and they are both great places to live. They're actually next to each other, but they are very different. So if you're thinking about moving to the area, this is a great video for you. So let's just dive right in. So if you're new to my channel, we talk about everything Montgomery County, Maryland, and DC, and Northern Virginia. And if you want to know more about Potomac or Rockville, we got a whole library of videos for you to choose from. Today, we're just going to stick to talking about the differences between the two, so you can make the best decision for you and your family. So the first thing we're going to talk about is real estate. As you know, I am a realtor for the last 20 years. So the real estate between the two is very different. In general, Potomac's going to be more expensive. The price points for a single family home in Potomac will start around the mid 700s and can go all the way up to, right now, there's a house on the market for $49 million in Potomac. It's Dan Snyder's house, but that's a little unusual, but it can go really expensive. In Rockville, you could probably find a single family home in one of the older neighborhoods in about the mid 500s. And then you can also have other neighborhoods in Rockville that can get you up to about $2 million. Some other things to note if you're looking in Rockville and Potomac, besides price points, is that if you want more land, Potomac is going to have a lot more options. Potomac used to be horse country, so a lot of their lots are 2 acres. So if it's land you're after, if you want that big backyard and possibly a pool, Potomac is going to definitely be a better choice. As far as Rockville, Rockville is huge. Rockville is massive. It's much, much bigger than Potomac. So you're going to have a lot more diversity as far as price points in Rockville. You can get the luxury neighborhoods in Rockville that will go up to around $2 million. And then you also have the older neighborhoods in Rockville where you have more affordable pricing. So let's move on to the amenities that each place has to offer, where you're going to go shopping and get your gas and grocery stores, because they both have their own unique setups. In Potomac, you have Potomac Village. It's super cute. It's been around for a really long time. You've got 2 gas stations, 3 grocery stores, a lot of little gourmet shops, a Starbucks, CVS, really anything that you need, you're gonna have in Potomac Village. You also have a couple cute bars and restaurants. There's Hunter's Inn, which has been there forever. It's kind of like our Cheers bar in Potomac. You go in there and everyone's gonna know your name. But it's super, super cute and really easy to get to if you live in Potomac. Now let's talk about Rockville, because Rockville has its own town center, which is also super cute. In Rockville Town Center, you've got Dawson's Grocery Store, which is a local grocery store, which I absolutely love. You've got an ice skating rink. You've got a movie theater, tons of bars and shops, and you also have all the courthouse buildings in the center of Rockville. So they both have their own personalities. I would say Potomac Village is more quaint and Rockville's a little bit more urban, but they both have their own centers, which is very accessible if you live in either place. So you can see they even look different, but they're both super cute and about 15 minutes away from each other, just to give you some context. So let's move on to schools, because both Potomac and Rockville are known for their very highly rated public high schools. In Potomac, you have Winston Churchill High School, which serves all of Potomac. In the latest rankings from niche.com, they gave Winston Churchill a number 4 ranking out of all the public high schools in the state of Maryland. In Rockville, you also have 2 very highly ranked public high schools. You've got Richard Montgomery, which is ranked number 6, and Thomas Wooten, which they ranked number 7. These are niche.com's rankings, but if you check all 3 of these high schools in greatschools.org or any of the websites, they're all usually going to come up really super high in the list. Now, I do want to point out that Rockville is much bigger than Potomac, like I said, and there are other high schools in Rockville, but these 2 are the highest ranked according to niche.com. Let's talk about Commute, because a lot of people that are moving into the area are moving in for work, so Commute's super important. So first, let's talk about getting into DC. If you're going into DC from Potomac versus Rockville, I think it's probably going to be about the same time difference. There are going to be different routes to get into the city, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to take you the same amount of time. In Potomac, you have a couple different options. You can get there by MacArthur Boulevard or River Road, depending on where you live in Potomac. In Rockville, most likely you'll take 270 and then either get off of River Road and 495, or you can get off in Wisconsin Avenue and head straight into DC from there. So they both will take you probably about 30 minutes to get into DC, depending on where you're going. Could take less, could take 20 minutes if you're just going into the border, but they're just different ways of getting there, and I would say this is probably a tie. If I had to pick one over the other as far as the shortest commute, it would probably be Potomac, but only if you're close in Potomac. If you live further out in Potomac, well then it's going to go back to Rockville. So that's DC. Now, a lot of people move into the area and work in Gaithersburg or other places in Gaithersburg or Germantown or even Frederick. And in that case, I think Rockville will win. Rockville is definitely closer to Gaithersburg. We border Gaithersburg, so you're probably going to get a better, easier commute if you live in Rockville if you're commuting north. But let's say you don't want to drive. You want to take the metro. Well, here is a big difference because Rockville's got 2 metro stops. You've got Rockville Metro and Twinbrook, both on the Red Line. Both will take you north to Gaithersburg and south straight into DC. Potomac doesn't have a metro stop. It's one of the biggest cons about living in Potomac. There is no metro stop. In fact, the closest metro stop to Potomac is probably Rockville, which, like I said, depending on where you live in Potomac, could probably be about 15 minutes away. But it's just something to note that if you are moving into the area and you really want to take the metro, Rockville is definitely going to be a better choice because it's just going to be closer. Let's talk a little bit about culture and diversity. Like I said, they are both great places to live. They both have very active high school sports and they're very competitive. They compete against each other. So you get a lot of school spirit at both locations. They have a lot of parent involvement in the schools and the community and the PTA. So they really both have a lot of great things to offer. As far as diversity, this is very subjective. So I can just tell you this. Wallet Hub came out with their most diverse cities in America for 2022, and Rockville, Maryland came in at number 10 out of 501. I'll put a link below in case you want to read the article. So I think that's pretty cool. So if you're looking for a really diverse place to live, well, they're going to tell you that Rockville is definitely one of them. Okay, next up is something we got to mention because if you live in the city of Rockville, which is not all of Rockville, I have to be very clear about that. Rockville is massive, and within Rockville, there is the city of Rockville. But if you live within the city of Rockville, you do have to pay an additional tax. With that tax comes a lot of services. It covers your trash and recycling and snow removal and a lot of other things that I list in my Rockville video, so check those out if you're interested. But it's worth noting, in Potomac there is no extra tax. You just have the Montgomery County tax, which you have no matter where you live in Montgomery County. So it's important you understand that. Once again, it's not all of Rockville. You need to ask when you're moving here, is this house part of the city of Rockville? So you just understand if it is, you are paying an additional Rockville city tax. So now on to my little secret that I'm going to share with you. Remember, I told you I grew up in Potomac. I went to Winston Churchill High School and I now live in Rockville. My kids go to Wooten High School. Or do I? Actually, I live in Potomac, 20854 Potomac zip code. But it's in the city of Rockville. I know, it's a little crazy, but it's true. So I get the benefits of living in Rockville, meaning I get to use their services. I also have to pay the city of Rockville tax, but I also live in Potomac. So it's very confusing, but if you're moving into the area, it's something you should know. They do cross over a little bit. And just make sure you're working with someone who lives here and understands it so they can give you the pros and cons of each. In my experience, and this is my personal experience, when I'm hiring different contractors or different services and they ask where I live, I say I live in Rockville. I kind of feel like I'm gonna get the better rate than if I say I live in Potomac. I think, I could be wrong, but this is what I think when I say I live in Potomac, they're gonna charge me more because Potomac is known for having a lot of money. Once again, my own experience. I know, it sounds a little weird, but that's what I do. So I just wanted to let you guys know that Rockville and Potomac do have a little bit of a merge where you can live in both and you can use that to your advantage, like I do. There's a lot more I could talk about as far as Rockville and Potomac. Like I said, I lived in both of them for a very long time. And if you are thinking about moving into the area and you want to chat more or you'd like our help, just send us an email. We'll set up a Zoom. We'll get you started. If you did get some value out of today's video and you want to show our channel some support, smash that like button, comment below, and subscribe to our channel. It just helps us with the YouTube algorithm and motivates us to make more videos. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Bye.